Welcome to the reading of the book, Use Your Mind and Prosper, written by Norman Alexander Sr. In this session, we will be reading from Chapter 17. Chapter 17, Visualization. What is visualization? Visualization is using your imagination to see yourself being, doing, and having the good which you desire. Let me repeat this because this is very important. Repeat this with me. Visualization is using your imagination to see yourself being, doing, and having the good which you desire. This is a sure way to get in touch with universal intelligence. This can only come about after you have mastered the principles set forth in this book. You can achieve what seems like miracles once you have fully mastered the art of visualization. When you understand mind science more fully, you will realize there are no miracles, and what seems to be miracles is only positive thought acting on the subjective. Nature is consistent with her established laws. She never deviates. Once you have mastered the art of visualization, which can only come through meditation and mind development from within, there is a power in you that permeates every atom of matter and encompasses all energy perceptible to mankind. When you discover this presence, this power within you, there are very few things that you cannot do. In the previous chapters, I have led you by the hand through all the necessities for the achievement of the good you desire. Now, as I approach this last principle, that is, if you have mastered the previous principles given in previous chapters, you are now ready to accept without doubt these amazing claims I make here. Remember, if you are not in full command of the other principles, reread the previous chapters until you have mastered them, then make your determination whether these claims are true or false. Everything that I ever learned was because of some idol in that particular field. This idolatry led to my emulation of these various heroes or principles. That's where faith came about and began to grow. I soon found out that because of my faith, I was able to imitate my idols to a much greater degree than I had thought possible. As I developed this method of concentrating on these idols and philosophies, I noticed myself taking on the characteristics of some of these people. Some of these men were John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Cy Oliver, Nat King Cole, Berry Gordy, Louis Armstrong, Sammy Davis Jr., Billy Eckstein, and many others. These men were great movers who had successfully faced every challenge and came out on top. My ritual was almost a nightly affair. I would see them in my imagination as members of my board. And who do you think the chairman would be? You guessed it, little old me. You see, what I was trying to do was to shape my own character along the lines of these great men, forming a sort of a composite of the things I would like to be contained in my character. When you want badly a certain thing, or when you want to be, do, or have a certain something, you have to sort of tune in on that particular thing. If you want to move into a different neighborhood, you have to study the people in that neighborhood and learn to walk like those people, talk like those people. You know, get it all together so you can be one of the crowd. I remember the time I bought my son, Norm Jr., his first CB radio. He and a little friend were in the garage trying it out. After he finished talking, his little friend picked up the microphone and started talking, but he couldn't seem to get an answer. So my son told him, "Man, they are not going to talk to you. You've got to talk their language." I have spent 11 months listening to them talk, so I could talk like they do. That's why they talk to me. So if you want to talk to them and get an answer, you have to learn their language. That really cracked me up, but there was so much truth in that it stuck with me. If you want to lose weight, girls, get a magazine with a model that you would like to look like. Visualize yourself as looking like that model, and you will begin to see yourself gradually becoming closer and closer to your goal. In my secret board meetings that I mentioned earlier, at times I would imagine that I was Louis Armstrong appearing at a nightclub and would go through the antics and emulate him until one day I began to sound like him, and it sort of frightened me as to how realistic the vocal sounds were. But can you see what was happening? I was visualizing myself being that particular character, and it came to pass that I began to get the actual sound of Louis Armstrong to perfection. I did the same thing with the characters of Nat Cole, Billy Eckstein, Al Jolson, Vaughn Monroe, and many others, and achieved the same results. You can do the same thing if you use the principles in this book and work with them. That's what visualization can do for you. You don't need any special talent. I'm saying that anybody can be, do, or have anything that he desires if he follows these principles. Before I studied mind science, this would have seemed like a miracle to me, but it's very simply understood when you know the law of the mind. If you have not a virtue, assume one. William Shakespeare. You can take the study of this book and use this philosophy to achieve any goal that you desire, simply because awareness is first cause, after which comes all the necessary secondary causes. With deep enough desire and study will come the knowledge which will lead to understanding. Understanding of self, understanding of others, understanding of happiness, and becoming aware of the laws of nature. This brings about the use of the sixth sense. I'm sure you have noticed while reading this chapter, you have felt a stimulation or a sort of high mental stimulation. Wonderful. Come back to this chapter next week and read it again. You will find that you will be lifted to an even higher plane, and pretty soon you will find out that as you digest this material, you will be able to throw off all negativity and fear. You will be able to get first-hand direction from your imagination. You will have touched heaven. This is the feeling that every great musician, artist, leader, or thinker has felt. That unknown something that can complete any task.